The prophecy you are listening to is called Hard Evidence Will Come Out. The Lord said to tell all those who resist the truth because of their love for lies that their day of reckoning is coming. And when they see his harsh displeasure against those who put bitter for sweet and lies for truth, that they will know that the wrath of God remains stored up against an evildoer eternally. And you can look at Isaiah 5:20 for that. Let me read that on camera. We've covered this particular verse so many times in so many videos. And it's simply a verse that says, in a way, it's a verse that actually points directly to what the core message in these prophecies is. These prophecies are exposing the practice of inversion, to turn something inside out or to turn something upside down. In other words, there's an object, there's a proper way for an object to sit. There's a proper way for an object to be. There's a proper way for an object to be perceived, to be used. You take the object and you turn it into something else. You deliberately turn the object into the exact opposite of what it is. That is inversion. Satan has introduced into the world the practice of inversion, and he's gone and touched the apple of God's eye. He didn't choose to invert baboons and say, you live as a lion and the lion will live as a chimpanzee. No, he came to the pinnacle of God's earthly creation, the man, the woman, and he has now inverted them. And yet the man and the woman living today says, what of it? What of it? If it's not hurting anyone, what of it? So God is not anyone? Could you paint a masterpiece and then have someone come and throw buckets of different types of paint over something that you labored over and it took time? Humanity is the only thing that God made with his hands. He shaped us with his hands. Everything else, he spoke it into being, but with us, literally, he took the time. And then Satan comes to throw buckets of paint, and then you say, but it's not hurting anyone. So God is not a person in our midst? He will not be granted his central place in our midst? You mean he has no right to dictate what up is and what down is, what day is and what night is? You look at him working in the creation story in Genesis 1, and you cannot perceive the personality of such a person? Who will say, these are plants, these are animals, these are animals of the air, these are animals of the sea, these are animals of the land. The animals of the land shall not be like the man. The man shall have dominion over the whole. So you see someone who is precise and meticulous in creating. And then you see someone else who is precise and meticulous in destroying. And then when it comes time to choose a side, you choose the side of the destroyer and say, but let him do his thing. It's not hurting anyone. This is why Satan loves and thrives on the last days generation. Of all generations that have lived, none have been so immoral. And when I say immoral, I mean in a quiet, slick sense. I tell my friends and intercessors all the time, I tell them that the pride that is in this last generation is presented with so much logic that you must be trained to perceive it. It is presented as logic. It is presented as reasoning. The people who actually carry Satan's agenda within them will always say, let us have a conversation. Why are you so against abortion? They will open the floor and allow you to speak first. They want to be perceived as wise, but the Bible always also tells us in Romans chapter 1, thinking themselves wise, they became fools. And then what happens after you become a fool? Does it just say you stay a fool? No. It says God then comes to the fool and begins to bundle them. 1 fool, 2,000 fools, 90,000 fools, all fools. And it says he then hands them over to the reprobate mind. What is the reprobate mind? In that place called the reprobate mind, you're not coming back. There's no help. There's no hope. In that place called the reprobate mind, even if you're down in the hole and I'm putting the rope